cement. We'll have to see if he can up his game here today. But let's talk a little bit about this matchup here, because we're into the draft. Wind and Rain on our blue side, Diabolus on our red side. And we'll see how this one's going to pan out. Do we have expectations coming into the bans and things, or are we expecting fairly meta stuff?
I reckon Talia's going to get banned.
Yeah, Talia is definitely a ban against Gobra. You might see the LeBlanc ban potentially, although Godban hasn't sort of played exceptionally on that recently, but you've always got to be aware that he can play that to a very high level.
But at some point, can you just, like, you can't ban everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Echo's been banned versus him before. If you start banning, like, LeBlanc as well, you know, that's 3 bans, Echo, LeBlanc, and Talia, which obviously...
And Wind and Rain have got blue side, right? So you have to be super careful about, you know, giving away something strong in the first pick.
Is Camille going to be banned away as well as the Azir? Huge focus on this mid lane right now. The Camille taken away from Rifty as well. So really trying to shut down these solo carries, but it's going to be Skarner taken away from Furion as well. We saw him do wonders with that last week.
Do you ban Zac here? Because if you don't ban Zac, then Wind and Rain get it?
I mean, I feel like if you trade Zac and Sejuani, you're okay with that, honestly.
Yeah, maybe Zac and Sejuani is a pretty decent trade.
Yeah, it's really hard to know when Rain's going to first pick, because they have first pick Talia in the past, which is a really not a great first pick, traditionally speaking. I just don't think they care, honestly, about what they pick. So you would imagine... It's interesting, actually. We've seen this before when I was watching the games from earlier in the week. Zac has been first picked more than once, and people from the other teams hanging out on Twitch chat don't know why they picked Zac over Sejuani. Most people seem to think Sejuani is more important than Zac. Yeah, everyone just first picks Zac still, so it's a very divisive thing there, which jungler you want to pick.
It's interesting because 8.3 is where we saw some slight nerfs to the cooldown on the Arctic Assault from Sejuani, so everybody said, oh, well, she's bad now, right? Compared to Zac, who was good before, now Sejuani was overtaken, she got nerfed, so, I mean, my metaphorical tier list, you know, like, Zac is now above. But it might not be necessarily the case in terms of results. Sejuani is still an incredible jungler, even with the Arctic cooldown nerf. It really only affected her ability. Slight clear speed nerf because of getting over walls, slight mobility nerf, but realistically hasn't affected what she kind of does well.
She still Sejuani.
Exactly,
so.
Yeah.
I guess it's more of like an early game to ultimate reliant champion. There's the big differences. Zac is less ultimate reliant than Sejuani is.
Yeah.
But they're kind of comparable, honestly. I think it's a bit preference there.
Tristana locked in here for Smiley, though, so they've got that kind of hyper carry in that bottom lane.
All right.
We'll see.
It's a bit of a pocket pick. They could do that. They could do that. There's a lot of mid lane bans going through here, so if you're going to revert to a pocket pick, now's a decent time to do so.
Yeah.
Zoe is still on the board, though. I'm a little bit surprised you wouldn't want to pick up a Zoe.
She's still good on 8.3. Zoe's still very good. But Larson hasn't had the best games on Zoe, right? It's not been a champion that he's kind of loved.
Yeah, so maybe just allow that through. I mean, honestly, we've seen it a lot more in the bans than we have picked here in the Premiership, so not too surprising here. Tom Kench will be the last lock-in there on the side of Wind and Rain before the second round of bans. But the Echo, definitely going to be interesting. But I'm curious about this Tristana pick, because we were talking before about how Smiley, kind of the player that needs to step up right now for Diabolus. He was one of the really big players on previous iterations of this roster. And this season he's been quite quiet, but on a Tristana, this is the kind of champion that you can really make an impact on a game with.
Tristana's safe, right? Tristana's just a safe AD carry. She clears waves quite well. She trades pretty well.
Champions quite well.
Yeah, clears champions quite well. She trades pretty well at every stage of the game, and she scales up really nicely. Tristana is like the AD carry that you pick when you don't want a really bad matchup. You want to have some form of escape, and you want to scale a little bit. So, you know, Tristana's just a safe AD carry to pick up, and it means that XD Smiley's not going to have any huge risks placed on him. He can just perform. We saw in the XL game, you can go 0-1-0 and still farm up and be a monster in the late game. That's kind of just Tristana in a nutshell.
And right now, you can also ban out things you don't want to play against Azrael to make it even safer.
Varus maybe next. You ban Caitlyn Varus probably. Ezreal potentially.
You may even want to ban a support, honestly. No, you wouldn't, because they've got Tom Kench.
You would. I definitely think the Ezreal, just because of how Matty has been playing on Ezreal.
Ezreal player.
He's been absolutely terrifying. But Varus will be the pick in the end.
Look at that.
Well, it's just because I'm just taking a guess, right? At like the top tier AD carries, like on 8.3, the top tier AD carries were like Varus, Tristana, Ezreal, Caitlyn, right? So you expect Ezreal's going to be the choice for Matty now. The interesting thing is this Kassadin pickup, because I actually think Kassadin's not a bad pick into the Echo. He is a very heavy AP melee dueler. You know, with the W, he can hit really hard against other AP melees. He can dodge, especially post 6, a lot of what sort of Echo's got. So, and he's got the magic shield that he can use to trade efficiently into Echo in the lane. So it's and also we know that Larson plays a really mean Kassadin. So
yeah, definitely. I think it's nice you can open up the Kassadin pick, because that's always fun to watch too. I'm interested to see what they're going to do for Igloo, because Rifty, I'm sure he'd love to get a favourable matchup into that top lane.
That's Rift in a nutshell.
I'm expecting, honestly, I'm expecting a last pick Ornn or something like that. I think you just want to stick Igloo on something simple, reliable, easy to play, nothing crazy. Gangplank is still on the table here, and I kind of think that Wind and Rain are almost baiting.
Wow. What? Aatrox?
Aatrox.
All right, then.
And it is going to be Matty taking Ezreal as we expected, but...
That feels disrespectful.
A blind pick Aatrox feels relatively disrespectful, yes.
Rift has talked a lot about Aatrox and how he enjoys playing it. We know Rifty likes to play carry-style top laners, but it also, you now have to rack your brains as Diabolus. Like, what the bloody hell do we play into Aatrox to do well? I mean, picking a Gangplank now is probably a bad idea because Aatrox can all-in you pretty early and put pressure on you.
Aatrox is a
I like that.
Yeah, he's a strong lane bully. He's an underrated lane bully, so... Yeah. It can be tough. I would just say, yeah, just if in doubt, just stick to something simple and you'll be fine.
Trundle's pretty simple, so...
Good,
if in doubt, crack Trundle out. That's what they're going to do. Igloo going to take that one up to the top lane. So what do we think of the compositions now that they're fully locked in here?
It's a good 1-3-1 from Diabolus. Just the double teleport tells you everything, but you've got Caston, you've got Trundle. Both of them are really good 1v1 laners, so you stick them in the side lanes. It feels like this is going to be a battle of the solo laners, just the way that this is racking up, because you've got 2 double teleports on both sides. A 1-3-1 is likely going to be the ideal scenario for both of these guys. And the problem with this game is if you get one of these solo laners snowballing, it's going to result in the one composition that's ahead in the solo lanes kind of rocketing out of control, I feel.
Yeah, I think if Aatrox gets rolling, he can do some crazy stuff. And even Echo, honestly. Echo and Caston, they're both melee, so that can be a bit of a tough one as well. But not a huge front line from Wind and Rain, and when he's chucked Trundle into it as well, Trundle's really good at shredding front line. So if XC Smiley can get into that kind of 2-3 item power spike that she wants to do, then there's a lot of ways in this game how it could go. You know, it's kind of hard to say exactly what will go down.
I want to ask you guys, now we mentioned previously going into this game, maybe this is an opportunity where Wind and Rain a little bit overconfident, maybe throw a game or two mid-season. They picked Aatrox top. That's not exactly the highest competitive pick. Could this be the opening for Diabolus?
Honestly, I feel like this is going to be a jungler-dominated game, because if the junglers can start snowballing these solo lanes in 2 compositions that have decided to pick solo 1-3-1 type lanes, if you get your solo lanes rolling, you transition to a 1-3-1, you force your opponent to react in a similar manner, and you can dominate in a 1v1 matchup. It's going to be jungler-dominated for me, and so far Wind and Rain have had... Dan's presence has just been really good.
Yep, but like you say, I mean, junglers, if they can influence that top lane, specifically the top lane, because I feel like mid's going to be more equal just throughout, but if Aatrox ever does fall behind, he's
a bad man.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty useless, so that can be a bit tumultuous there.
All right, we'll have to see how that one's going to pan out. I'm super curious to see Rifty playing this Aatrox, because it's not a pick that you see often, but you know that he's going to have been practicing this one. Thank you very much for the analysis, X-Scoundrel. It's going to be myself and Foxdrop taking away this one as we head into our 3rd game of the day. It's going to be Wind and Rain against Diabolus. Wind and Rain on our blue side, Diabolus on our red side. So, definitely looking to be an interesting one. The classic Zac versus Sejuani in the jungle, very standard, but the mid lane and top lane both very interesting matchups that we don't get to see often.
I want to pick up on what you said before about how you described this draft as perhaps a bit disrespectful from Wind and Rain.
Yeah.
Early and blind picking an Echo in itself is relatively disrespectful too. But we know that Godbro loves to play these champions.
Yeah.
We know that he's... Like when they blind pick, first pick Talia before, like they obviously have confidence in Godbro, and he has confidence in himself.
He's like one of those solo queue superstar players, right? Where he's happy to just go, as long as he can find a 1v1, he's happy to take that situation.
I really don't think that Wind and Rain, either they're trying things out with this, with blind picking both their solos, or they really just don't think that Diabolus is going to be a problem for them. I mean, that is the benefit of being so high in the standings, is that these guys are pretty much lock-in for playoffs, right? So
yeah,
they can try. If you're going to try things, now is a decent time to try it out.
And also, it's like you don't have to show anything, right? You don't have to show your strategies. Like, if you lose this game, it's really not the end of the world. And you can just try hard later on, because, I mean, assuming that you can put up the performance that you have in previous games later on down the line, you're pretty comfortable going towards that playoff stage, as you say.
I mean, as well, if this game goes well for Wind and Rain, Aatrox suddenly gets on the other team's radar.
List, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can draw out a ban like that, that's basically a free ban. So you're definitely looking at that. That's a positive.
Godbro taking a huge trade in that mid lane up against Larson there. Not a comfortable situation for Larson. Cloud Drake will be the first one of the game. So probably less presence there from the junglers with that being a Cloud Drake.
Which is cool because I really want to see him topside. I want to see what's going on this topside because you get Trundle ahead, that's cool. You get Aatrox ahead, that's cool. I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
The junglers will be looking topside this game. So the fact that they don't have to go bot side either is a bonus.
I'm like actually really excited to see what Rifty can do on this Aatrox. Here we go, though. Furion is caught in the Herald pit right now. We'll be able to Arctic Assault his way away from that one. They're just going to be able to grab themselves a crab. In the meantime, though, Larson not having a fun time in this mid lane.
No, not yet. But, I mean, he's castled in, so notoriously awful
how many
level 6.
lanes do you have a fun time?
Yeah.
Right?
And, I mean, that is a pretty big point there as well, where at level 6, Echo, obviously he gets his ultimate, he gets that extra strength, but it's not like... I mean, it's not like Kassadin who gets the ability to basically unlock his whole kit in that sense, enable his whole Kassadin-ness when he gets level 6, so... Yeah, I mean, if you're Larson, he's 4 CS down, but he's fine. He's happy with that. That's not really a huge problem for him. And besides, if Echo plays as aggressive as he's playing, Furion can definitely show mid lane. Just go there, get his flash or something like that. I mean, we've already seen Godbro use his E aggressively. Yeah, absolutely. He could have a target on his back this game, definitely.
I mean, I'm curious to see as well whether junglers focus on what Furion and Dan are going to be doing.
Look at that. Like,
that's so BM.
It is.
It's just like, and they actually denied the CS as well. The turret shot was like perfectly timed to deny that. That's so unfortunate for Larson. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what Dan and Furion are going to be doing this game, just because, like Xscoundrel was saying on the desk before, they can really enable this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also quite interested to see Godbro's choice of rune this game, the Glacial Augment. Echo is one of those champions who doesn't really heavily benefit from any of the new runes too much. The Electrocute is kind of the default. Comet isn't really that great on him. Spellbook has been, tried around with as well, but there's not really a great choice. So seeing the Augment, what that says to me is that he really wants to be up in people's faces. He wants to be fighting people like that.
Yeah.
And chase them down.
Oh, here we go. Rifty getting a huge trade onto Igloo. That is not a fun situation for the Trundle right there. And Larson as well, taking a massive chunk of damage. So you can see, every time we talk about Winter Ring, we talk about the solo laners, we talk about the lanes in general, just the lane dominance that this team often shows. And you can see it just in these individual trades, even though it's not kills. Yep. It's just like this presence that the team has in their lanes.
Yep, it's confidence as well. It's absolute confidence. And it's a really difficult situation for Furion. You saw he kind of came around mid-side a little bit there, but you can't do anything. If Larson's sitting there on 30% health, plus he's a level 5 Kassadin, and you're a level 4 Sejuani, I mean, we can say Echo's playing with confidence and maybe a bit of cockiness, but what does he really have to be afraid of? Like, yeah, if he does something really stupid, he could die, but that's not a particularly threatening mid-jungle duo, at least at this stage of the game. Yeah. Once level 6 starts throwing around, and ultimates are knocking about, then yeah, that's when you have to start really respecting things. But Dan's going in for a cheeky little chicken wall gank.
Here we go. Larson could be in trouble here. Does flash away. We'll be able to walk away with his life on that one.
I didn't quite see that, but I'm pretty sure Larson just hit level 6 here as well. That was.
Oh, it was actually Riftwalk, was it? I thought it was Flash because I saw that he was 5 as the gank was starting.
Yeah, so he leveled up as the gank went through. That's a bit unfortunate for Wind and Rain. Bit too slow on that one.
Yeah, Larson's going to be happy with that one though, managing to just about get away with his life. And
just about get away what? On 100% health?
Oh, yeah.
God,
I mean, just about in terms of the timing. In terms of the time.
Yeah.
But here we go. RIP Tracker's Knife on both of the junglers there.
Yeah.
Feels big patch, man.
To be fair, I think it's quite nice for competitive though.
I'm so excited for 8.4.
Yeah, I think that'll be cool. No Zoe as well is always nice. As a my highest win rate jungler this season, most played as Lee Sin, so that's not nice for me having Green Smite taken away. But
I mean, it's your YouTube intro, right?
It was, yeah, for a very long time. Yeah, Shaco and Lee Sin were who I was known for. I don't play Shaco anymore, although I am rocking a hefty 27% win rate on Shaco this season.
Ooh, not too shabby.
Which is really sad because he's actually good this season as well. I don't know what happened.
Mate, you're making my solo queue look good, and that's not something to brag about.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Well, here we go. Let's take a look at the CS numbers right now, because we're starting to see a little bit of a lead for Matty in that bottom lane. Igloo. He's got some support from his jungler. Furion's going to be locked up, and oh my goodness, immediately taken down. He's going to be resurrecting. I don't think they'll get the kill here.
That was really close. He just got that resurrection up as well. His passive wasn't up, and then as soon as he pressed his ultimate there, like that's like a split second of CC wasn't enough, and he gets the res. But still, I mean, that was, I don't know, trade your passive for a Sejuani ulti. That's not too bad. I mean, that's a lot of pressure you don't have to worry about now if you are winning Rain here, because Sejuani ultimate in this stage of the game, if it hits someone, it's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's down now.
It can be a massive playmaking ultimate. It can really make things happen, assuming that you don't ex-Smithy the situation. But
the old 180.
Oh, yes.
Classic.
Larson did go back to base. Couldn't quite afford that Rod of Ages, though. Just the Blasting Wand to come back to lane with. So he'll be a little bit sad about that situation. Couldn't quite find that. So for that early scaling. But still an extra bit of AP for the mid lane matchup. And obviously with his ultimate, I wouldn't be surprised to see him start to try and roam a little bit now. Same with the Echo as well. Both of those mid laners, very good at roaming, very good at setting up other lanes and starting that snowball.
Yeah, definitely. This mid lane's a bit of a stalemate, honestly. And to be honest, if you are Godbro 2, the way that he's playing this lane, he's just endlessly pushing. The sequel, did you say?
He said Godbro 2.
Oh. Classic.
Sorry.
You're full of jokes today.
I feel like I threw you off there.
Yeah, I can't even remember what I was talking
terrible pun.
Which is fine, because I'm just chat rubbish anyway. That's all I do, so...
Mate, that's
throwing me off, it doesn't really make
80% of the job. 80% of the job. Anyway.
The other 20% is pretending like you're not.
Yeah.
Is the deceit that I've just completely thrown away.
It's like the mug that we gave Excoundrel today.
Another 8 hours.
Another 8 hours of pretending to work. Anyway, should we talk about League of Legends a little bit here?
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
This has been a pretty slow early game. I don't know if you guys noticed at home. I don't know if I needed to reiterate that one for you, but not a lot has been happening. We've had a gank in the top lane. Not a lot happened from it. Passive was burned. We had a gank in the mid lane. Larson, Rift walked away in true Kassadin fashion. And now we're heading towards the 10-minute mark. There is a 700 goal lead for War, which actually is probably the smallest gold lead they've had at this point in any game so far.
Yeah, very well could be. This is... Oh, are they... Oh, it's
something's happening. Here we go. Godbro on the Echo has arrived. Everyone is up top right now. Godbro gets himself first blood.
Igloo deciding not to use his flash there to escape the kidnap, but to be fair, everyone was there. Like, literally everyone was there. That's a really smart rotation from Wind and Rain, though. Catching him completely, I would say caught with his pants down, but he's on full health under his tower, not really even out of position there, honestly. That's just pure out rotation. Tower's going to go down as well. They are looking to answer in bot lane. I don't think they're going to get the first one tower, but still, at least they're doing something here. They're getting the tower as well. So good answer by Diabolus here, not too bad. But they might keep going, honestly.
I was going to say, yeah, the only issue is they might just lose 2 towers up top. Larson will arrive, though. I think they're going to be able to protect this one with the mid laner there as well.
If they lose the Herald, that could very easily be a rotation into the mid lane here. I mean, that is a huge weakness of Diabolus right now, or in their team comp, I should say, is their wave clear is pretty awful. When you put Kassadin, you don't have good wave clear. I mean, the only wave clear they have is really Tristana. That's basically it. You could kind of count Sejuani into that, but that's not... Yeah, that's kind of cheating.
But they might trade a tower for the Herald, which I would say is worthwhile, especially a tier 2 down in that bottom lane.
Yeah, that's not bad, honestly. Yeah,
Diabolus doing a really good job, actually, answering that.
That was good. That was good. You get 2 towers there. You do lose the Herald, you have to imagine that's probably going to be another tower going down from the Herald too. I mean, mid lane is about a charge of the Herald. I mean, that's just going to blow up instantly anyway. It's kind of the same with top lane too, so...
Yeah.
It would be interesting. Cloud, I kind of want to talk about the dragon because that's another thing on the map, but no one cares about dragon in this game. It's a cloud dragon, so I don't know how much that's going to be in people's minds, you know, when they're thinking about what to do.
Yeah, it's not going to be a big priority for them. Honestly, if you're Diabolus, though, you're going to be happy with 2 towers regardless. It is the best of the Lord of the Rings movies, hands down. So when it comes to that, you're always going to be happy with the 2 towers.
It's also probably the best PS2 game from the Lord of the Rings.
Return of the King was also really good.
Return of the King was good, but the Two Towers one was also sublime.
The Nazgul level, where you had to play as Gandalf on the walls.
I can't remember
so
specifically.
hard.
I just remember running through the jungle for the orcs and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember
spamming
that.
like
I remember that.
X or something.
And it was like almost semi-open world in some of the levels. Yeah, that's so good, man.
That's quality.
The dream.
Good old days.
Yeah, another tower trade going on. This feels like, what was it, Season 4, when everyone was just swapping around trading towers all the time? Or maybe it was Season 5.
Either way, just towers being answered by towers here, which is...
Yeah.
Were they going here for a catch, maybe? Or this is just a sick rotation with the Herald into the mid lane. You have to think that's a bit overkill. That tower's probably going to die anyway.
I think maybe they were hoping to finish that tower first and then time the Herald, but...
Yeah, that's a bit of a waste, but whatever.
I think if they hadn't committed to Larton, they could have finished that tower, so Herald would be full health for this next one. But I mean, that damage is not going to be too consequential regardless, the difference there.
I mean, Diabolus doesn't have their bot lane around, so if Wind and Rain want to go for a dragon here, they could do so. But at the same time, they might just not... It's not really worth... Yeah, we could also recall, that works too. But at this point, if you go for dragon and you're completely out of position, for example, I mean, Rift doesn't have TP, right? So if you go for that dragon and Diabolus just happen to be around, because obviously you don't have vision in their base, right? You can't quite tell that Tristana and Braum were recalled. Then if you take that fight and you lose it, that's really not worth it for a Cloud. So no real surprise that no one seems to care about this bot side here. But I have to admit, being like 13 minutes into the game and just all these towers going down, it's...
With like no kills as well.
Yeah.
They're just happily trading back and forth.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Gold lead is starting to build up a little bit for Wind and Rain, 1,500 in their favor, which is a nice little boon. We'll be able to use that effectively, and that pretty much is... A lot of that will be in that kill that went over to the side of Godbro, but he is slightly down on CS as well, so gold won't be too far apart for our two mid laners here. In fact, yeah, you can see just 300 gold between the two. It is going to be Wind and Rain finally taking this Drake, setting up just to maybe...
Another Cloud Dragon is going to spawn next as well. Excellent stuff. That's what you want to see.
All that late game movement speed for the rotations. Monte Cristo would be proud.
I mean, to be fair, once you get 2 or 3 Clouds, it's not too bad, especially if you've got a split-pushing team compo 1-3-1, like we mentioned, with the Echo and the Aatrox sitting in side lanes. Having the extra move speed is pretty useful, honestly. You can just run around with it and disengage, more specifically if people try and collapse onto you. So, it's not terrible. I mean, we're kind of making a joke out of it, but it's
right.
Okay.
So here's the thing, right? It's nice to have. It is better than not having a Drake. It's just not as good as the rest of the Drakes.
You probably wish that was a different dragon, honestly. Yeah. That's fair to say.
I mean, I'd trade a little bit of percent movement speed for a little bit of percent damage any day of the week, to be quite honest. Here we go, though. Igloo's going in, or Dan, should I say. Wrong player there. Smiley will flash himself to safety. Furion on the front line alongside his Braum. Haddo will get knocked up, though. Might just end up going down if he's not careful. Glacial Fissure will disengage a little bit. Rifty getting quite low himself, and Godbro's gone way too deep. Has to ult himself to safety. The Chrono Break breaks the siege in the end, and it is just going to be a disengage.
Igloo tried TP to the tower, but the tower died. Can't get in on that one, but that's a lot of summoners burnt there. Haddo lost both his summoners. Smiley lost both his summoners too. And all Dan had to do was jump in. That was basically it.
Guaranteed the tier 2 as well. That was the key thing. They actually got an objective.
Absolutely.
The first objective that's not been traded.
True. And our first sort of contested one. Although there are still no kills going down. We had that one kill on the top, but no real proper...
Could be a sign of things to come. We can dream.
I'm actually looking to see whether or not Wind and Rain go for a really cheeky Baron play this game. Because when you have that X factor in the Aatrox, you don't really know what he's going to do. You know, you don't really know what his plan is or what kind of, if they've got any kind of specific strategy for this. Because I could easily see Aatrox has crazy sustained damage like that. He would be very good at taking away the Baron. Yeah. And if Wind and Rain want to go for it, they can set up. And they seem to have control of the map right now as well. If you can maybe catch it as it's spawning and just completely catch Diabolus by surprise, that would be an interesting thing to see. I don't know whether they'll do it or not, but I would like to see whether they will use that Aatrox as some kind of like niche strategy, or they're just going to sit him in a side lane and just say, here you go, mate, go push.
I mean, classically, he is sort of a split push hero, right? Where he's just very good at 1v1ing. He's not very good at teamfighting because he's so easily kiteable. Unless you can land a miracle knock-up. And I mean, you can have good teamfights as Aatrox. It's not like Fiora, but you know, he's not. That's not classically what he'll.
I mean, there's a reason why we were surprised when we saw him, right? Because he's not picked. And there are reasons why he's not picked. You know, it's not like. But at the same time, it's not like you've picked a sack of grain. I don't know. I don't know. That was just the first thing I thought in my head. That would be very useless.
I mean, it would. You're not wrong. That's an interesting item to choose.
I don't know. So I think I was going somewhere else with the sack at first, and then I PG'd it for the stream.
Nice.
And
I appreciate that.
That's what happened. I don't know.
I appreciate that. Appreciate
my
the
point
PG.
stands. All right, well,
I mean, the point. I would hate to have a sack of grain on my team. So
there you go.
So I can totally relate to your analogy there.
Anyway.
Yeah. So trades in the top lane. And actually, we've got some players rotating up towards the top lane. It's Wind and Rain coming on in like a storm. Larsen's in trouble. Haddo will get knocked up here. Larsen getting bounced around just a little bit, but it's Haddo pushed on forwards. Ultimate onto Godbro coming out from Smiley, helping the Echo disengage just a little bit there.
So again, things kind of happening, not really happening. These Zac engages, though, are... I mean, you can see why they prioritize the pick.
Take a look at Aatrox, though. Rifty, in the meantime, just casually pushing away on the Aatrox. He's having a whale of a time.
Igloo always seems to be a slight step behind in what Wind and Rain... I mean, to be fair, you could probably argue about that with Diabolus and Wind and Rain in general. Wind and Rain are making the proactive plays, and Diabolus are just a little bit not quite ready for when things happen. And that's partially why these Zac engages and the tower dives that are coming from them are so effective, because he's able to jump in there and threaten the kidnap or threaten that clap and to get that whole kind of combo-wombo down, as they say, in that order. But because Diabolus isn't there in position, so you saw what happened topside where it was Kassadin and Haddo were together and Kassadin had to flash away. You saw what happened in the mid lane before where NXT Smiley had to flash away. So just a little bit on top of it. And it's working out in Wind and Rain's favor right now.
All right, we'll see if it can continue to work out for them as well. The gold lead is slowly but surely stacking up for them. 4,000, despite the fact that realistically not a whole lot has been happening in terms of the differences here. And the CS numbers aren't exactly ridiculous, except for in the top lane and jungle. Yeah. Everywhere else it's very even. Here we go though, play onto Igloo as everyone swims under the map in Tahm Kench's belly. Igloo is in a whole heap of trouble. He will be able to use that ultimate just to keep himself alive. Will be able to do it as well. Labrov going to pick up Rifty, trying to keep his own top laner standing. Disengage.
Godbro wasn't there at all, and that was pretty deep by Wind and Rain. I was a little bit worried. I was worried for Igloo right there. He didn't flash the Zac engage. He flashed after it had already happened, which makes him easy to chase down. I thought that might be a big problem for him there, but instead, to be honest, you're kind of just trading the Aatrox flash, I guess Tahm Kench flash as well, for the teleport, and that's basically just like 2 summoners to 2 summoners, although I think Smiley healed as well. So even though that, I would say that looked like that was bad for Wind and Rain, that was actually really good for them. And I think, considering the kind of game they're playing right now, teleport is extremely valuable. Getting that teleport from Kassadin down is really, really good, because that's exactly how Wind and Rain are playing. It feels like they're just winning because they're out-macroing Diabolus at this point. So having TP is the best, oh crap, something's happening and I'm not there, let's get there.
Yeah.
So if Wind and Rain can make that happen, but
it's like the ultimate panic button, right?
Pretty much, it's the oh crap button, yeah.
All right, well, here we go. Larsen and Godbro, 1v1. Let's see who's going to be able to take this one. It's not 1v1 anymore, because Dan's in, and so is Labrov. Larsen suddenly finds himself out of sorts here. Passive won't quite go off, though, and Larsen walks away with his life. Yet another fight where nobody goes down.
Ooh, flash used from Tristana, ultimate used from Sejuani. You have to think at some point, even though Wind and Rain aren't getting any kind of huge things out of these plays, the little things like that. I mean, you can't, for example, that tower, you can't contest that tower with a Sejuani ult down. It's tough. It feels like they're being bled out. Diabolus is just bleeding right now, and they can't really find their footing this game. I think that's the way I describe it.
Yeah.
The Wind and Rain is running around, and Diabolus is struggling to really get that foundation to stop the whole kind of like earthquake that's going on around them, and then from there build upon it and start making things happen.
I have a really fun statistic for you from this game so far. For every minute in the game so far, Wind and Rain have had 1/22nd of a kill.
Oh, what a statistic. Yeah. Is that the stats team in your ear?
Yeah.
The advanced
the guys backstage
yeah.
feeding me the info.
Yeah, all the 50 people working on your advanced stats came up with that one. Hey, be surprised if so.
No expenses spared.
I deserve praise.
The ESL Premiership.
What about Diabolus? What's their...
They have had 1/0 of a kill.
Wow.
Every minute.
1/0
so far. 0.
Math teachers everywhere.
A bag of zeroths. Here we go. It's going to be Larson Rift walking himself to safety just about. Haddo and Furion walking away. Haddo blocks the True Shot barrage. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen.
Nothing happened.
Another non-fight occurs.
At what point does Wind and Rain get Baron though, this game? At what point are they going to look at that at least and be like, let's just go for it? I wonder, it feels like they're being very calculated this game. They've only really made that one overstep, and even when that happened down in the bot lane when they were chasing Igloo, it worked out fine for them. In fact, they got a dragon out of it afterwards. So, do they want to pull a trigger like that? Do they want to pull a Baron trigger? Or are they just going to be like, actually, this game's going fine as it is? There's two sides of the coin there, you know. Just keep it how it's going because it's working for you, or try and use what you've got to get something else out of it.
We could have a fight here. Godbro versus Larson 1v1. Larson escapes.
I think honestly, Larson's probably got the advantage in this 1v1 now. I would just say that he knows that it's not a 1v1 anymore. Really.
So long as the stun doesn't land, yeah, he's pretty Gucci. Well, the fight over Raptors continues. Dan smiting that one out. I'm trying to inject some hype into the game.
Hype into the chicken contest. Dun, dun, dun.
Mid lane pushed out by Smiley and Haddo. The CS coming on through. Explosive shot passive, netting the minions. The Winions. 50 CS lead actually for Smiley right now. It's pretty significant. He's
that
like
is nice as well.
Ahead.
That's good because that is one of Diabolus's main win conditions this game. If they want to win these team fights, you've got to have a strong Tristana. So the fact that she's been able to pick up that farm advantage is pretty important. There we go.
Haddo having to flash away from this one. We'll use that Unbreakable to keep himself safe for now, but the stun comes on through. Rifty's on the backside as well, looking for Smiley, but he jumps away to safety. Rifty will go down into his passive in a second, but it's a kill going over the way of Wind and Rain. Igloo. Done? Question mark?
Well,
interesting flash. Yeah, I mean...
And that is a kill.
Hey, at least they got a kill.
They got a kill out of that, and trading the Aatrox passive for a kill, that's fine.
I'd say that.
Then, oh, here comes the face check now.
Here we go. This could
boy.
be it. Dan got a bomb on his head. XD Smiley trying to dish out the damage, but he hasn't been back in about 3 days, so he's not got very many items. It's going to be Igloo gobbled up here by Labrov. In the meantime, Godbro just zoning everybody else out. It's another kill for Wind and Rain. The hat trick comes through.
Yep, and this is the threat of the Baron, forcing Diabolus to face check. Even though Wind and Rain weren't even really looking for it, but now that they've got that kill onto Igloo, and all of the things that are being blown, there's no Sejuani ultimate, there are no summoners, you have to think this has to be the Baron going down here. But I think Diabolus want to contest this one.
Here we go. We could have a bit of a fight on our hands, and that's exactly what Dan wanted all along. Forces the engage right now. Smiley trying to kite away alongside the rest of his team. Godbro taking a good chunk of damage there. Smiley definitely has started to hurt at this stage with Fury. And oh dear, he's not in a very pretty spot right now. He's found himself in the wrong jungle, unfortunately. He will end up going down.
Hey, his role is a jungler. It doesn't specify what jungle he should be in.
That's true. That is true. He saw them going for Baron. He was like, I'm going to go take their red buff, but poor timing on that one, unfortunately. The third Cloud Drake will spawn onto the map.
But now do Wind and Rain look for the Baron, because they just killed the enemy jungler. It feels like this is a bit of a dance here, but they're constantly forcing Diabolus to face check, which always puts Wind and Rain on the advantage, because they can engage with, well, okay, they can sort of engage with Zac. They can also do that, but...
Just jumps out again. Oh,
the old buddy hop.
Well, Baron is getting incredibly low right now, 3,000 HP. This could be the steal opportunity. Here we go. Smite off begins, and it's going to go the way of Zach. Wind and Rain secure that one. And now onto the fight. Smiley trying to dish out the damage, but it is very heavily in favor. Wait, what? Diabolus is turning this one around. This is a 4v5 right now. They're trying to finish off these kills. Lebrov will go down. This is going to be another kill onto Zach as well. I can't believe how well that fight went for Diabolus.
And Furion wasn't there at all, so there's no chance for steal, but Diabolus say, we're not going to steal this one, we're going to win the fight. And that's exactly what they do. They kill 4 people. 1 Baron still alive. That's good for Wind and Rain. You've still got the buff. If you group up, you can still use it. But that's 4 kills. That's going to be 2 towers as well. And the way this game's been shaping up, I mean, I talked about this. Do you press your advantage with the Baron? Or do you just say to yourself, things are going fine right now, let's not tempt fate? Well, they kind of went for the second option there. And they did tempt fate.
Yeah. And now, we actually have a bit of a game on our hands. Everything's been going pretty slow to start this one off. This is going to be a Cloud Drake going over the way of Diabolus. But actually, the gold lead has been closed a little bit. The Baron did go the way of War. They are going to have that. I didn't remember which player specifically survived.
It was Gobro. Gobro's got it.
So, oh yeah, he's not got any deaths, so it make a lot of sense actually. But they're only going to have one version of the Baron buff though. So for split push purposes, it's not going to exist. But absolutely mammoth minion wave in that top lane is going to be shoving on down. Someone needs to go back and deal with that for Diabolus. But in the meantime, everybody from Wind and Rain starting to set up on this bottom side of the map. Ooh, Larson. Smelling a rat, getting himself to safety.
What's interesting about this game is that those were actually the first 4 kills of the entire game for Diabolus. 0 kills before that, and now they've got the 4 kills. Let's see if Dan's feeling lucky.
Here we go. Dan goes in, gets nothing, but secures the turret.
Still get the tower. I mean, Wind and Rain just have not skipped a beat at all. You would think that would make you a little bit kind of afraid. You get a little bit nervous about the fact you just lost 4 people. Oh crap, are we throwing this game? And look what they're doing. They just ran up and took another tower. It's crazy. That's huge confidence right there, and that's good to see.
It makes you wonder whether or not they should be doing that more this game, and should have been doing that more. Just like try and force the issue. Especially now that they've got Baron buff onto Godbro as well. Maybe try and set up a siege situation, although they don't have the best siege in the world. Zach has been doing a great job of just forcing these objectives.
Exactly. Their siege is actually pretty crap, but Zach can just jump in and just, kind of force it like you say.
If you contest, then you lose.
Yeah, and Diabolus are always a little bit behind, so that when Zach does jump in, he's only jumping into like 2 or 3 people max, which is good.
Smiley's in trouble, and he's going to be going down on that one.
Oh boy.
XD for Smiley, and Rifty goes straight on in. Haddo going to be pulled on back into the team, but he is very tanky with that Unbreakable active. The turret may not be tanky enough right now. They're not going to commit to things just yet, though. Larson's starting to stack up that Rift Walk as well. They need to be careful not to just allow that Castellan to blitz through the team.
Only losing Smiley there is quite fortunate because he is 50% of Diabolus' carries right now, and probably the most important one when it comes to defending a siege. It's funny that he was just about to die, because I was going to mention about Smiley and say there have been a few question marks about his performance in the Prem thus far. And Diabolus, how they're kind of underperforming, and he's been sort of one of the biggest reasons for that, arguably. This game right here, you're up against the best that there is, sort of, if you're forgetting Misfits for a second there. Arguably the best that there is.
One of, at least.
And one of the best. This is your time to shine. Here it goes. So can you bring this back? What a game to bring it back and to say to your team, make that statement where maybe things haven't been going too well, but I've still got it. So this is actually Smiley. It's his game. It's his game to carry this one. He's been given the tools, he's been given the options. Now, if it just comes down to execution.
One other thing he's been given us is practically a Flame Horizon in that bottom lane. 370 to 270. He's farming up a Storm right there. And he's starting to get towards 6 items as well. Still has that Doran Shield, but other than that, fully stacked up. Similar situation on the other side, though. Despite that CS deficit, it's not really affected the actual items in the game that much.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's having the armor pin item, like 3 items is kind of that sweet spot for these auto attack carries like Tristana, Caitlyn, these kind of people. but being able to chuck on some armor pen on that as well. I actually would have really liked to see a Mortal Reminder come through from Tristana rather than the Lord Dominic's Regards, because look how much healing is coming from the whole of Wind and Rain's team, really.
Igloo is actually in a lot of trouble right now. He's taking a lot more damage than I expected him to. He's going to go down. Big mistake from the top laner at Diabolus. And now this bottom lane inhibitor turret could be in serious jeopardy.
How does Godbro keep making picks with an Echo like that? He just keeps doing it. Ridiculous.
I mean, he picked the name for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
Here we go. Turret being sieged down. I mean, we mentioned they don't have the greatest siege, but when it's 4v5, it's not going to matter all too much.
Although Igloo does have teleport, so if Diabolus can hold on and Wind and Rain overstep a little bit, there's a ward down by the blue buff there. Oh, that just died. Never mind. But either way, Igloo can potentially try and TP.
Well, we'll have to see. Dan goes on in. Fury going to be able to knock him back from that one, but the turret is about to go down. So is Haddo, though. Maybe not the best focused target, as Larson going to get chased away by Godbro. Nice true shot lands, and that is a kill for the Echo coming on through. This is going to be a 1-for-1, though, in the end of Fury, and actually chasing for more. Smiley, this could be his opportunity to start to rack up some kills, to start to snowball this Tristana. Cell Division comes on through, but that will get him a reset on his jump here. Is he going to chase for more? Looks like the answer's no.
That was a really, really, really well played fight from Smiley there. That whole time he was sitting back and just shooting whatever was in his face. A bit of a misconception, especially the lower down you go. More inexperienced during League of Legends is that if you're an AD carry, you've got to kill the enemy carries. Just hit whatever's in your face. That time it began with Rifty. Rifty couldn't get his passive off there either, so he dies straight away. Then Godbro goes a little bit too deep, and he dies as well. Haddo actually nicks that kill, but still, really, really well played from Smiley. He just he was cool, collected, and just did what he had to do there. And this is the thing with Wind and Rain, though. You got to respect Diabolus still. I mean, yes, you're winning this game, but it's still a pretty close game, honestly. It's not a huge gold lead here. And there's a lot of tools on Diabolus to win this game still. So
I mean, we've talked about it in the last game, was that kind of the Ezreal just not really a hyper carry, right? When you get to the late stages, he is going to do good damage. Don't get me wrong, he's still a carry, but not quite the same level as like your Tristanas and your Caitlyn's that are just going to melt through those health bars. Rifty going to be able to grab himself an Ocean Drake. We've not been having the most influential Drakes in the history of the world here.
Yeah, that's one Ocean at this stage of the game is not really that cool to see, but I mean, still, it powers up your Elder Dragon, and this game could go to that lane.
Yeah,
this game could be an Elder Dragon game, so.
I mean, with 30 seconds away from the next dragon, or from the next dragon being Elder, that is.
So getting it, that's perfect then, because you can get a 4th dragon and then get Elder, so. Could be a plan there.
We'll have to see. Baron on the cards right now, but the key thing to bear in mind is that Diabolus kept that inhibitor alive in the bottom lane. That is absolutely massive for them that they were able to win that fight.
There's Echo again.
Oh, Larson, he's in trouble right now. Lebrov comes in. Matty as well. Huge damage coming out, but Flash was available. Larson just about gets away with his life. Haddo will be able to get away as well. The disengage is absolutely huge, but look at this catch down in the bottom side of the fight. That's going to be Rifty going down. Godbro taking huge chunks. Smiley just does so much damage. Now onto Lebrov. Godbro jumps in, but that is going to be all of his survivability used. Godbro goes down. It's a double kill for Smiley. He jumps on forward. There's a stun as well. Looking for Lebrov, looking for anyone he can find. As Dan will go down, so will Lebrov. Triple kill for Smiley and an ace for Diabolus.
A clean ace, 5-0. Who'd have thought watching this game earlier that Diabolus would pull that one out? But we mentioned you can't disrespect the Diabolus lineup here, especially with this team comp. With XD Smiley, what did I say? I set him up for the storyline, I've done it. You're welcome.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I think that's
Look at this. This actually could be game. This is an upset as well. We've been talking about Wind and Rain. They've had a flawless record so far. We said maybe they'll have overpushed. Maybe they'll be overconfident coming in. Speaking of overconfidence, is Smiley, who's not even attacking the turrets. They are over the moon with this victory over Wind and Rain. Phenomenal stuff coming out from Diabolus. We've been putting question marks around the roster, but they have proven that they are capable of taking these wins, and they are capable of sticking